Greetings from the Remnant Bible School Church. Welcome to the Passover. What is Passover? The story of the Passover is found in the Bible, in the book called Exodus. Long ago, during the time of Moses, there was a Pharaoh who feared the growth of the children of Israel, who are also known as the Hebrews. The Pharaoh saw how the children of Israel increased mightily in numbers. He feared that if an outside army rose up against the Egyptians, that the children of Israel would side with the outside army and decide to leave Egypt. So the Pharaoh placed taskmasters over the children of Israel and began to treat them harshly with hard labor and slavery. However, the more they oppressed them, the more they grew in number, mighty and strong. So the Pharaoh had the Egyptian army to go to all the children of Israel's houses and take all the baby boys, and he threw them into the river. There was a woman from the tribe of Levi. She had a baby boy, and she hid him for 3 months. When she could no longer hide the baby, she placed the baby boy in a basket and placed the basket in the Nile River. His sister Miriam followed the basket. At that time, Pharaoh's daughter had come down to the river to wash, and she saw the basket and she took the baby. Miriam told Pharaoh's daughter that she can get a woman from among the Hebrews to nurse the child. So Miriam went and got the baby's mother, and the mother nursed the child until the child grew, and then the mother gave the baby to Pharaoh's daughter. So Pharaoh's daughter took the baby and raised him as her own. She named him Moses, because he was drawn from the water. Moses grew up among the Egyptians. When he became an adult, he went to where the children of Israel were, and he had great compassion on them, for he knew that they were his brethren. Moses saw an Egyptian beating one of the children of Israel, so he slew the Egyptian. The Pharaoh found out what Moses did, so Moses ran from the Pharaoh to a place called Midian. While in Midian, Moses helped some young girls against some bullies, and he helped them water their flocks. Now there was a high priest in Midian named Jethro, and his daughters had come to him and told him what Moses had done. Jethro was so grateful. He welcomed Moses into his home, and Moses married Jethro's daughter, Zipporah. Now some time passed, and the Pharaoh that tried to kill Moses died, and there arose a new Pharaoh. And the children of Israel groaned and sighed because of the harsh slavery from the Egyptians. And God heard them, and he remembered his covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who was also known as Israel. And God looked upon the children of Israel and had respect and compassion for them. The children of Israel were in Egypt for 430 years. Now during this time, Moses had established himself with his new family and was tending the sheep, when he came to a mountain called Mount Horeb. Within this mountain, an angel of the Lord appeared unto Moses in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. Moses looked and wondered how the bush was on fire but wasn't burning. When Moses went to take a closer look, God called to him out of the midst of the burning bush. He said, "Moses, Moses." And Moses said, "Here am I." God told Moses to take off his shoes, for the ground in which he was standing on was holy ground, and Moses did so. God introduced himself to Moses and told him that he has seen the oppression of his people in Egypt and has heard their cry and know their sorrows. God will send Moses to deliver the children of Israel from Egypt. Moses asked, "Who shall I say sent me?" And God said unto Moses, "I am that I am." Moses worried that the children of Israel would not believe him, so God showed Moses signs that he would be with him. He turned Moses' rod into a serpent, then back into a rod again. He turned Moses' hand as white as a leopard, then back into its original color. God knew that Pharaoh would not listen, so he told Moses what to do. And he told Moses that his brother Aaron would help him. So Moses took his family and headed to Egypt. Moses went to Pharaoh and demanded he let God's people go, but Pharaoh would not. So God began to show his wonders upon Egypt. Moses went to the Nile, and he said, "Thus saith the Lord, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh would not. So Moses stuck his rod into the water and turned the water into blood. Moses went to Pharaoh again and declared, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh refused again, so a plague of frogs came from the river. Again, Moses went to Pharaoh declaring, "Let my people go." And again, Pharaoh refused. So Moses smote the dust of the earth, and it became a plague of lice. So Moses continued to go to Pharaoh, declaring, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh continued to refuse, incurring a different plague upon the Egyptians every time. There was the plague of flies, pestilence of livestock, boils, thunderstorm of hail and fire, locusts, and darkness for 3 days, each time Pharaoh refusing to let God's people go. And the Lord told Moses to have all the children of Israel to take the blood of a lamb and place it on the doorposts, for the Lord would visit Egypt and smite all the firstborn of those who did not have the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. But the Lord would pass over all the houses that had the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. And in the morning there was a great cry in the land of Egypt, for the Lord had smote all the firstborn of those who did not have the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. Pharaoh let the children of Israel go. The children of Israel left in such a haste that the bread that they had in the oven did not have a chance to rise. And the Lord led the children of Israel by day in a pillar of a cloud to keep them cool and shaded from the sun, and by a pillar of fire by night to keep them warm and give them light. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, so he gathered his army and began to pursue the children of Israel. The children of Israel now had the Red Sea before them and Pharaoh's army behind them, and they cried out to the Lord. And Moses said, "Fear not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." And the Lord said to Moses, "Lift up thy rod and stretch thy hand over the sea and divide it." And the Lord led the children of Israel safely through to the other side on dry land. However, Pharaoh and his army pursued the children of Israel through the Red Sea. So the Lord had Moses stretch forth his hand over the Red Sea, and the waters returned, overthrowing Pharaoh and his army. Welcome to the Passover. The Passover is a feast celebrating the Israelites' exodus from Egypt and their freedom from the bondage of slavery to the Egyptians, while remembering how the Lord passed over them because they had the blood of the lamb on their doorposts. During Passover, we eat the mitzvah cracker to remind us that in Egypt, we left in such a haste that there was no time for the bread to rise. We eat the horseradish to remind us of the bitterness of the slavery in Egypt. We eat the lamb shank because it represents the sacrifice offered by the children of Israel on the eve of their exodus from Egypt. We eat the egg because it symbolizes new beginnings, and the children of Israel were headed for new beginnings when they left Egypt. We eat the lettuce dipped in salt water as a reminder of the tears of the children of Israel. We also observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, in which we abstain from eating anything with leavening in it for 7 days. This takes you to the Passover. We welcome you again to the Passover.